the spark of possibility. Imagine a seed buried deep in the fertile soil of your mind. It is small, almost invisible, yet it carries the potential for an entire forest. This seed is your assumption, your inner belief, your silent declaration of who you are and what your life is becoming. Tonight, I invite you to peer into the depths of that seed. Ask yourself, what is the life I already assume is mine? What is the reality I have quietly claimed in the secret corners of my consciousness? The world you see is but a reflection of the life you assume. And just as the sun never forgets to rise, your assumption never forgets to manifest. But to understand this, you must first awaken to the power you carry, the divine ability to shape your reality from the inside out. 1. The power within your assumption. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine standing in the center of a vast, silent desert at dawn. The wind is calm, the horizon stretches infinitely, and the first light of the sun paints the sand in shades of gold and crimson. In this quiet, unbroken space, you realize something remarkable. You are not merely standing on the desert. The desert is a reflection of the space within you. Every grain of sand, every ripple in the wind, every flicker of sunlight is an echo of your own inner state. This is the unseen truth. The world around you mirrors the assumptions you hold within your mind. What you carry in your consciousness is not a thought that drifts lightly. It is a seed that will grow, shape, and ultimately form your life. Many live their lives as if reality is a rigid, unchangeable thing. They look outside and see walls, obstacles, and limitations, believing that the external world dictates their destiny. But tonight I ask you to turn your gaze inward. The reality you experience is not born of circumstance. It is born of assumption. The moment you begin to truly understand this, you unlock a power more profound than any force in the universe. The ability to create your life from the inside out. Consider a simple example. A child who believes the world is full of kindness approaches life with curiosity and openness. Doors open for this child where others see walls. Opportunities appear as if by magic. Not because the world has changed, but because the child's assumption shapes perception, guiding action and attention to what aligns with their inner belief. In the same way, your assumptions act as invisible magnets, drawing toward you experiences, people and circumstances that mirror the reality you hold in your mind. But how does one hold an assumption so firmly that it begins to mold reality itself? The key lies not in intellectual understanding, not in wishing or hoping, but in living as if your desire is already fulfilled. Imagine for a moment that you already possess what you long for, a life overflowing with purpose, love, abundance, or peace. See yourself walking through this life, hearing the sounds, feeling the textures, breathing the air of your fulfilled desire. Feel the joy that swells in your chest, the satisfaction that radiates through your entire being. This is not fantasy, it is the art of assumption, living from the state of the fulfilled desire, as though it were already true. To grasp this fully, let me tell you a story. There was once a traveler who dreamed of reaching a distant city across a vast, treacherous desert. Each day he walked, guided by the vision of the city shimmering in his mind. He faced storms, sandstorms that blinded him, heat that drained his strength, and nights that whispered despair. Yet, in his imagination, the city always appeared as a tangible reality. Streets paved with sunlight, the laughter of people he would meet, the comfort of safe shelter awaiting him. Day after day his belief never wavered, and eventually against all odds he arrived. The city was real, not because the desert had been easy, but because his assumption had guided him unwaveringly toward it. This is the foundation of transformation, the realization that your mind is the true landscape of your life. What you assume within will inevitably manifest without. Your thoughts, your inner conversations, and the images you allow to dwell in your imagination are far more powerful than any external force. This is why the conscious cultivation of assumption is not merely a practice. It is a spiritual discipline, a sacred act of creation. Yet the practice of assumption demands more than occasional daydreams. It requires total presence, unwavering attention, and a willingness to dismiss the seeming reality of what is. You must imagine fully, not as a distant possibility, but as a living, breathing reality within you. Imagine the feeling of success, the taste of joy, the embrace of love, the fulfillment of peace. Hold it, nourish it, let it saturate every thought, every emotion, every quiet moment. This is the silent work that reshapes your life. Now, here is a subtle truth that is often overlooked. The mind does not distinguish between what is imagined vividly and what is experienced physically. The imagination is not a playground for idle thoughts. It is the laboratory where your life is formed. When you vividly assume the reality you desire, your mind accepts it as fact. Your emotions align, your actions align, and slowly, inevitably, your outer world begins to align with this inner truth. It is not coercion. It is natural law. The world responds to the state you inhabit internally. Imagine standing by a river, watching the water flow past your feet. You cannot force the river to follow a path you prefer, yet you can observe how it responds to obstacles and channels you create. Your assumption is like a guiding channel for reality. It does not demand or wrest control. It simply sets the direction in which the currents of life will naturally flow. When your inner state is unwavering, the river bends to your vision. When your assumption wavers, the river meanders aimlessly, leaving you feeling adrift. The transformative power of assumption also extends to every aspect of your experience. Your relationships, your career, your health, and your sense of purpose. When you assume the presence of love, love flows toward you. When you assume abundance, opportunities appear in ways that defy logic. When you assume peace, chaos loses its grip. Nothing in the outer world can resist the magnetic force of a mind fully aligned with its inner truth. Tonight I challenge you to take a moment and ask yourself, what is the assumption I am living by right now? Is it a belief of limitation, struggle, and scarcity? Or is it a vision of empowerment, abundance, and fulfillment? Because whatever you choose, consciously or unconsciously, it is shaping the reality you experience. And the most beautiful truth is this: you have the power to change it at any moment. Not tomorrow, not next week, but now, in this very instant. As we move forward in this lecture, remember this principle. The world you see is but a reflection of the world you assume. Every success, every joy, every miracle begins with an assumption, nurtured with feeling, sustained with faith, and lived as if it were already true. The journey ahead will show you how to cultivate this power, how to harness it with precision, and how to live in a state of fulfilled desire. But before we step into that, take a breath, center yourself, and allow the magnitude of this truth to sink deep into your being. All that you seek, all that you long for, is already present within you. It is waiting for your assumption to awaken it into reality. With that awareness as your foundation, we are ready to move deeper, to explore not just the nature of assumption, but the practical, life-altering ways it can transform every corner of your existence. The seed has been planted, the soil is ready, and the first rays of fulfillment are beginning to shine. 2. Living in the end. The secret of fulfilled assumption. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a vast ocean at twilight. The horizon stretches endlessly, painted with the fiery colors of a dying sun, and the waves roll gently, each one carrying the promise of unseen treasures beneath the surface. You feel the sand cool beneath your feet and hear the rhythm of the water, steady, unrelenting, eternal. Now imagine that each wave is a reflection of your imagination, and the treasures beneath the water are the desires you have long held in your heart. The ocean does not ask whether you are ready. It simply responds to the signal you send from within. This is the essence of living in the end, the state of mind where your fulfilled assumption becomes the current that guides the tides of your reality. Many people chase their dreams from the outside, hoping circumstances will align, waiting for a sign that never comes. They look at the world as if it were the starting point, unaware that the true beginning is inside their own consciousness. The world is not the source of your fulfillment. It is the mirror reflecting what you already believe to be true. To live in the end is to step beyond time, beyond cause and effect, into the certainty that your desire is already complete. It is the art of imagining life as it is already yours, not as it might be, not as you hope it could be, but as it exists in the perfect realization of your assumption. Consider the power of this idea through a story. There once was an artist who longed to paint a masterpiece that would move the hearts of many. Each day he envisioned the gallery, the applause, the wonder in people's eyes. He saw himself walking through rooms filled with his work, smiling, fulfilled, knowing that his art had touched lives. Even when his hands were empty, when the canvas lay blank, he held the feeling of completion in his heart. And one day, as though the universe itself had waited for the right moment, he picked up his brush, and the painting flowed effortlessly. The masterpiece was not created in the physical moment. It had been born in the mind, cultivated through unwavering assumption, and brought into form by the law of living in the end. Living in the end is not about idle imagination or wishful thinking. It is a conscious, disciplined practice. Each thought, each feeling, and each action must harmonize with the reality you wish to experience. Imagine, if you will, walking into a room as the person you long to become. Your posture, your smile, your words, each reflects the fulfilled state within. You carry yourself as one who has arrived, and in doing so, the world responds to the vibration of your being. People, circumstances, and opportunities align naturally with the energy of your assumption. Now let me guide you to a subtle yet profound truth. Your imagination is not bound by logic, nor does it adhere to the rules of the external world. It responds to the intensity and sincerity of your assumption. A feeling imagined vividly and believed fully carries more power than years of physical effort or reasoning. The mind accepts the reality you impress upon it with feeling, and the outer world in turn mirrors this inner truth. Your imagination is not an idle playground. It is the sacred workshop where reality is formed. To practice living in the end, begin by creating a scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire. Picture it as if you have already arrived. Perhaps you see yourself walking into your ideal home, holding the hand of the person you love, receiving recognition for your work, or feeling a profound sense of peace and abundance. Engage all your senses. Hear the sounds, see the colors, feel the textures, smell the scents, and most importantly, allow yourself to feel the emotions that arise from this fulfillment. Let gratitude swell in your chest. Let joy radiate through every fiber of your being. This is not imagining the future. It is claiming the present that already exists in the unseen. Many hesitate because they feel the current reality contradicts their desire. They say, but I don't have it yet. How can I assume it is mine? And this is precisely the point where living in the end becomes a revolutionary act. It is the art of ignoring the evidence of the senses and steadfastly holding to the certainty of your fulfilled assumption. You are not denying reality. You are asserting a higher truth. Like a captain steering a ship through foggy waters, you navigate by the unseen lighthouse of your inner vision, not by the shifting waves around you. Here is a crucial insight. Living in the end transforms not only your external circumstances, but your inner self. When you assume the state of fulfillment, you begin to think, speak, and act from a place of completeness rather than lack. Scarcity, fear, doubt, and worry no longer dominate your choices because you are anchored in the certainty of your assumption. Your inner state dictates the outer experience, and the world, like a faithful mirror, bends to reflect what is real within you. This practice also reshapes your perception of obstacles. Challenges, delays, or resistance no longer hold power to sway you because you understand they are temporary shadows on the landscape of your imagination. They are not truths. They are transient appearances. By living in the end, you rise above circumstance and claim the unshakable knowledge that your desire is already fulfilled. Like the sun rising over the horizon, your inner vision illuminates every shadow, revealing the inevitable manifestation of your assumption. And so the journey of living in the end is not passive. It is active, deliberate, and continuous. Each day presents opportunities to rehearse your fulfilled state, to return to the feeling, to engage all senses in the experience of what you have assumed. Even for a moment, if only before sleep, allow your mind to rest in the reality of your fulfilled desire. Let it echo through your consciousness, permeate your actions, and guide your interaction. Every repetition strengthens the signal you send to the universe until manifestation becomes effortless, natural, and undeniable. Before we move forward, take a deep breath and embrace this awareness. Your assumptions are not dreams. They are the moment you inhabit the state of fulfillment. You water those seeds with feeling, nourish them with faith, and cultivate them with consciousness. The harvest is inevitable. Life will align, circumstance will shift, and reality itself will bow to the power of your inner certainty. As we prepare to step into the next phase of this journey, remember this: living in the end is the bridge between desire and reality, between thought and manifestation, between imagination and experience. It is the practice of walking now in the state you wish to see fulfilled, of claiming the invisible as the visible. The path ahead will reveal how to strengthen this practice, how to dissolve doubt, and how to allow the world to reflect the brilliance of your inner truth. And so, with your mind focused, your heart open, and your imagination alive, let us continue moving from the power of assumption itself into the practical art of feeling it fully, the secret that transforms thought into living reality. The ocean of your fulfilled life is waiting. It is only a matter of stepping into the wave. 3. Feeling is a creative force. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine holding a glowing ember in your hand. It flickers softly at first, almost invisible. Yet within it lies an immense potential, enough to ignite a fire that can illuminate the darkest night. That ember is feeling, and it is the force that turns thought into reality, assumption into manifestation, and desire into life itself. Without feeling, your imagination is a dormant seed. With feeling, it bursts forth as creation. Tonight we step into the secret power that lies not in thinking, not in wishing, but in feeling the reality of your desire as if it already exists. Many people misunderstand creation. They believe that goals are reached through effort, strategy, or action alone. While these can be useful, they are powerless without the fuel of feeling. Feeling is the soul of reality. It is the energy that carries the vibration of your assumption into the unseen, shaping the circumstances that eventually appear in the physical world. Consider it like painting with light. Thought sketches the outline, but feeling saturates the canvas with color, depth, and life. Without it, the picture remains flat, incomplete, and unseen by the world. Imagine a young gardener planting a tiny seed in the earth. The seed alone is lifeless. It requires water, sunlight, and care to awaken. Feeling is the water that nourishes the seed of your imagination. It is the warmth that causes it to sprout, the energy that drives it toward the sun. You may see your desire vividly in your mind, but until you feel it fully, until you allow it to touch your heart, quicken your pulse, and stir your soul, it cannot blossom into reality. Let me illustrate this through a story. A musician longed to compose a piece that would move hearts and transcend time. She imagined the melody, the harmonies, the notes flowing perfectly. Yet when she sat at her instrument, the music faltered. She realized that seeing the composition in her mind alone was insufficient. It was only when she closed her eyes, feeling every chord, imagining the joy of those who would listen, the tears, the smiles, the resonance of emotion, that the music poured through her fingers effortlessly. Feeling was the key that transformed imagination into tangible expression. Feeling does not require elaborate effort or complicated techniques. It asks only that you immerse yourself in the inner experience of your fulfilled desire. Begin by closing your eyes and picturing the scene of your life as you wish it to be. Hear the laughter, the sounds, the whispers of happiness. Smell the scents, touch the textures, and most importantly, allow the emotions to rise. Joy, gratitude, excitement, peace. Let them flood your being. This is not pretending. It is acknowledging the reality that exists beyond the senses, in the invisible world where all creation begins. Consider the subtle difference. Thinking says, I want to be wealthy. Feeling says, I am already wealthy, and I experience the freedom, security, and abundance it brings. One creates a desire. The other summons reality. Feeling is the bridge. It carries the signal of your assumption from the quiet chambers of your mind into the universal fabric, where it shapes the circumstances, people, and events that must conform to it. Without feeling, your thoughts drift like clouds without wind. With feeling, they become the wind itself, moving mountains, opening doors, and creating worlds. It is natural for doubt or impatience to arise. You may look at your present circumstances and ask, how can I feel this when I do not yet see it? Here lies the transformative challenge. Feel it despite the absence. Feel the joy, the satisfaction, the accomplishment, as if it is already yours. The human mind may resist, but your imagination and feeling together are unstoppable. Like a hidden spring beneath frozen earth, the creative force waits for the warmth of feeling to break through and flow freely. Let us take a moment to practice this together. Picture a desire you have, something tangible or intangible, small or vast. Close your eyes and see the scene in your imagination. Now breathe deeply and allow the feeling of fulfillment to rise naturally. What would it feel like to already hold that desire in your hand? How would your chest feel, your heartbeat, your posture, your smile? Let the sensations grow, fill your body, and overflow into your consciousness. This is not visualization alone. It is the act of living in the emotion of your assumed reality. As feeling becomes your daily practice, you begin to notice subtle shifts. Circumstances start to align in unexpected ways. Opportunities appear effortlessly. People respond differently. Challenges that once seemed insurmountable now feel like stepping stones. This is not coincidence. It is the natural law of life responding to the energy you emit. Your inner state, saturated with genuine feeling, becomes the axis around which your external reality rotates. The magic of feeling lies in its immediacy. You do not have to wait for months, years, or external validation. The act of feeling is instantaneous creation. When you immerse yourself in the sensation of your fulfilled assumption, you plant a seed in the soil of the unseen. That seed germinates according to the law of your inner conviction. Action, opportunity, and alignment follow naturally as the universe reflects back the reality of your inner state. But feeling is more than a tool. It is a spiritual practice. It trains your consciousness to dwell in the higher states of being, where all creation resides. It teaches patience, trust, and unwavering faith. It dissolves resistance, fear, and the illusion of scarcity. By feeling deeply and consistently, you no longer chase your desires externally. You inhabit them internally, and from that state the outer world cannot help but conform. Finally, remember this. Feeling is not a fleeting emotion. It is a deliberate, cultivated state. Just as a musician practices scales or a painter mixes colors, you practice the art of feeling. Repetition, consistency, and focus strengthen its power. Each time you feel the reality of your assumption, you are not imagining. You are co-creating the world. The outer world is the echo of your inner resonance, and the intensity of your feeling determines the clarity and speed of manifestation. So as we prepare to move into the next section, carry this truth with you. Thought without feeling is like a seed without water. Assumption without feeling is like a vision without light. The creative force that animates the universe flows through your emotions, and when harnessed intentionally, it shapes every corner of your life. Your imagination sets the stage, but feeling brings the performance to life. With your mind aware and your heart engaged, let us now step into the next phase, a deeper exploration of the practical application of assumption and feeling, where you will learn to act, speak, and live from the state of your fulfilled desire, making manifestation inevitable and effortless. The stage is set, the ember glows, and the fire of creation awaits your touch. 4. Overcoming doubt and resistance. Imagine standing at the foot of a towering mountain, its peak hidden in swirling clouds, the path steep and jagged. Your heart pounds with anticipation, yet a shadow of fear creeps along your spine, whispering that the climb is too difficult, that the summit may never be reached. That shadow is doubt, the invisible resistance that has kept countless souls from claiming the lives they were meant to live. And yet, within you lies a power far greater than that whisper, a silent, unyielding force, capable of moving mountains, crossing deserts, and turning impossibility into certainty. Tonight we confront that resistance and learn how to rise above it, guided by the unwavering light of assumption. Doubt is the mind's default response. When faced with uncertainty, it is a voice that questions, critiques, and undermines, often appearing louder than the truth you know in your heart. Resistance is the natural tension that arises when your inner vision clashes with the reality of the present. The world may seem to push back, circumstances may appear stubborn, and people may seem indifferent. But these are not signals of impossibility. They are invitations to strengthen your inner conviction, to anchor yourself more deeply in the state of fulfilled assumption. Consider a sculptor facing a block of marble. The stone resists the shape within his mind. The chisel strikes, sometimes breaking, sometimes splintering. Yet with persistence, imagination, and faith, the resistance becomes part of the process, guiding him toward the perfection he envisioned. So too your doubts and challenges are not enemies. They are tools, chisels shaping the clarity and intensity of your inner state. Every doubt you confront, every fear you feel and consciously transcend, strengthens the signal of your assumption, ensuring that reality bends to your inner certainty. The first step in overcoming resistance is to recognize its nature. Doubt thrives on attention. When you feed it by questioning your ability, analyzing impossibilities, or comparing your present to your desire, it grows stronger. Resistance lives in the space between what is and what you imagine. But the moment you turn your focus inward, toward the feeling of fulfillment and the reality you assume, doubt begins to shrink. Its voice becomes a faint echo against the powerful resonance of your inner conviction. Let me tell you a story to illustrate this principle. There was a young woman who dreamed of speaking to thousands with her words, inspiring lives and creating change. Each day fear whispered that her voice was too small, that the world would not listen, that failure was inevitable, but she refused to let that whisper dominate. Each morning she closed her eyes and felt herself on the stage, hearing applause, feeling the impact of her words, experiencing the lives touched by her message. The doubts still surfaced, but it was no longer commanding. Her assumption, nurtured with feeling, became her guiding light. Eventually she spoke, not because fear had vanished, but because it had been transmuted into fuel for her unwavering inner state. The second step is deliberate revision of the mind's narrative. When doubt arises, do not fight it directly. Instead, redirect your consciousness to the truth of your assumption. Imagine the scenario as complete as you wish it to be, and feel it fully. Picture the outcome, sense the emotions, and immerse yourself in the fulfillment. Doubt cannot withstand this. It is like a shadow attempting to withstand the rising sun. It cannot exist where the light of your assumption shines brightly. Another powerful tool is the conscious affirmation of your inner state. This does not mean reciting empty words, but rather embodying the reality of your desire through thought, feeling, and action. When uncertainty tempts you, remind yourself, I am already the person who has what I desire. The evidence is within, not without. The world reflects my inner certainty. Repeat this internally, not as a mantra of hope, but as the declaration of fact. Your inner conviction will gradually override the resistance, dissolving the power of doubt. It is also important to observe the body, for resistance often manifests physically: tension in the chest, shallow breathing, restless energy, or fatigue. These are signals that doubt is attempting to anchor itself in your experience. In these moments, return to the center. Breathe deeply, close your eyes, and reconnect with the feeling of fulfilled assumption. Anchor yourself in the sensation of success, love, abundance, or peace. The body will follow the mind, and the inner state will radiate outward, dissolving the physical echoes of resistance. Consider life as a river, and doubt as a boulder in its path. You cannot move the boulder by force alone, but you can redirect the flow, allowing water to carve a new course over time. In the same way, resistance cannot defeat the persistent energy of assumption. By feeling your fulfilled state consistently, your inner river finds its path around, over, and through the obstacles, shaping reality to match your vision. Every challenge becomes a stepping stone, every hesitation an opportunity to deepen your inner certainty. Let me share a simple yet transformative exercise. Whenever doubt arises, pause and visualize a scene that confirms your assumption. Engage fully, hear it, see it, touch it, and most importantly, feel it. Then step into your day carrying that sensation as if it would act, speak, and move from the state of fulfillment. The external world may not immediately mirror it, but the unseen world, the creative realm of imagination and assumption, receives the signal clearly. With persistence, the outer world inevitably aligns. The essence of overcoming doubt and resistance is trust. Trust in your inner world, trust in the law of assumption, trust in the invisible currents that shape all reality. Challenges are not failures, they are invitations to strengthen your inner state. Fear is not a stop sign, it is a guidepost showing where your attention is required. Resistance is not opposition, it is the mirror reflecting the depth of your conviction. Recognize it, embrace it, and move beyond it with unwavering faith in the life you are creating. Before we transition to the next section, hold this thought. Every obstacle you face is temporary, but the state of fulfilled assumption is eternal. Doubt is a visitor, conviction is your permanent companion. The more you anchor yourself in the feeling of fulfillment, the less resistance can influence your path. You are not at the mercy of circumstance. You are the conscious creator of your reality. As we step forward into the next section, we will explore the art of revision and conscious alignment, techniques to transform past experiences, reshape your present, and amplify the power of your assumption. The shadows of doubt may linger, but with the tools you are now learning, they will no longer dictate the contours of your life. Your inner certainty is the compass, and the path of fulfillment lies ahead. 5. The art of revision, rewriting your past to shape your future. Close your eyes and picture a vast gallery filled with countless paintings, each one representing a memory from your past. Some are bright, vivid, and joyful, while others are dark, heavy, and haunting. Each painting has shaped your perception of life, influencing how you think, feel, and act today. But here lies a profound truth. You are not bound by these paintings. You hold the brush, the palette, and the power to repaint them as you wish. The art of revision is the deliberate act of transforming the past, reshaping it in your imagination, and thereby altering the present and future. Many people carry the weight of old mistakes, regrets, and disappointments as if they were immutable facts. They replay events repeatedly, allowing them to dictate their beliefs and experiences. Yet the past is not fixed, it is a malleable landscape within the theater of your mind. When you revisit a memory, you have the opportunity to reframe it, to infuse it with the outcome you desire, to align it with the state of fulfillment you wish to inhabit now. By consciously revising the past, you are not denying reality. You are correcting the internal assumptions that created your current circumstances. Consider a story. A traveler once carried the burden of a long-forgotten failure, a choice that had haunted him for years. Each day, he would recount the event, feeling the same regret and shame, believing it defined him. One night, in quiet reflection, he imagined the scene anew. He rewrote the moment with grace, courage, and success, infusing it with the feeling of accomplishment and resolution. The change was subtle at first, internal, yet it rippled outward. Over time, opportunities emerged that mirrored his new inner state. The regret that had once anchored him disappeared, replaced by confidence, clarity, and momentum. This is the power of revision, the ability to reshape what has already occurred to open the path for what is yet to come. The first step in practicing revision is to identify the memory that weighs on you. Close your eyes and bring it to life in your mind as vividly as you can. See the people, the surroundings, the sounds, and the emotions. Now imagine the same scene unfolding differently, exactly as you would have wished. Perhaps you acted with courage instead of fear, spoke with clarity instead of hesitation, or received understanding instead of rejection. Immerse yourself fully in this new version, feeling the relief, joy, and satisfaction of the corrected moment. Let it resonate in every cell of your body. By consistently revising past experiences, you are not only healing old wounds but also reshaping the framework of your current reality. The mind does not distinguish between what is imagined with conviction and what is factual. When you relive a moment in your imagination with feeling, your consciousness accepts it as truth, and your outer life begins to align with this internal reality. The future is sculpted by the patterns of assumption and feeling you cultivate today, and revision allows you to refine those patterns with precision. Imagine a gardener tending a neglected garden. Weeds of regret, fear, and failure have taken root, choking the life out of potential. Revision is the act of pulling those weeds and planting new seeds of thought, new assumptions of success, love, and peace. Each memory reshaped is a seed planted in fertile soil. Over time, these seeds grow into realities, reshaping your experiences, relationships, and opportunities. What was once a barren inner landscape can bloom into abundance when tended with conscious imagination and feeling. Revision also strengthens your ability to live in the end. When the past no longer holds sway over your emotions, your mind is free to dwell fully in the reality of your fulfilled desire. Obstacles lose their power, doubts weaken, and the inner conviction of your assumption becomes unshakable. This is why those who master revision often experience rapid transformation. The external world is merely reflecting the internal clarity and alignment they have cultivated. Let us consider another example. A person once faced a profound betrayal that shaped their trust in relationships. For years, suspicion and fear colored every interaction, creating barriers to love and connection. One evening, they imagined the past differently. In their mind, the betrayal became a moment of understanding, a catalyst for growth, and an opportunity to see the humanity in others. They felt the forgiveness, the release of pain, and the strength that came from rewriting the event. Slowly, their perception shifted, the fear that had dictated their interactions faded, and they began to attract relationships filled with trust, warmth, and harmony. Revision had transformed the blueprint of their life. The practice of revision is not limited to negative memories. It can also enhance positive experiences, amplifying the feelings of gratitude, joy, and fulfillment. By revisiting moments of success and love, and saturating them with heightened feeling, you reinforce the patterns of abundance in your consciousness. The mind, reinforced with vivid, emotionally charged memories, continues to attract experiences aligned with that frequency. A practical exercise in revision begins with quiet reflection. At the end of each day, identify a moment you wish had gone differently, or a moment you wish to reinforce. Close your eyes and relive it in your imagination, altering it to match the outcome you desire, and infuse it with genuine emotion. Repeat this until the feeling of fulfillment is stronger than any lingering doubt or regret. Over time, this becomes a powerful habit that transforms not only your internal state, but your external reality. Remember, the past is not a chain that binds you. It is clay to be molded by the hands of imagination and feeling. Each memory revised strengthens the foundation of your fulfilled assumptions, preparing the ground for new experiences that reflect the life you desire. By mastering revision, you dissolve resistance, dissolve fear, and reclaim the creative power that has always been within you. As we prepare to move into the next section, Hold this truth close: the past does not define you unless you allow it. The inner world you cultivate shapes the outer world you experience. Revision is the gateway to freedom, the bridge that allows your assumptions and feelings to shape the life you long to live. The more skillfully you rewrite your memories, the more powerfully your present and future respond. With your inner gallery freshly painted, the stage is set to explore the next principle: how to cultivate unwavering faith and live in alignment with your assumed reality, allowing your desires to manifest effortlessly. The brush is in your hands, the colors are yours to mix, and the masterpiece of your life awaits. 6. Living with unwavering faith, anchoring your assumption in reality. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast canyon at sunrise. The depths below are shrouded in mist, and the path ahead seems uncertain, even impossible. Yet as the first rays of light touch the rocks, you realize that the beauty of this moment is not in knowing the path, but in trusting that the journey itself is guided, that each step is supported, and that the destination, though unseen, is certain. This is the essence of unwavering faith, the inner certainty that your assumption is already real, and that the universe conspires to bring it into manifestation. Faith is not passive belief. It is not hope, nor wishful thinking. It is the conscious decision to inhabit the reality of your fulfilled desire, regardless of what your senses reveal. It is the anchor that holds your imagination steady amidst the tides of doubt and the storms of uncertainty. Without faith, assumption wavers. Without faith, feeling loses its power. Without faith, the mind is like a ship adrift in a stormy sea. Consider a story. A young architect dreamed of designing a building that would inspire generations. Every day, he envisioned the structure, feeling its beauty, functionality, and impact. Yet, the world around him offered resistance, competition, skepticism, and logistical obstacles. Many would have abandoned the vision, but he anchored himself in unwavering faith. Each morning he walked the streets, rehearsing the building in his mind, feeling the joy of its realization, and trusting that every challenge was a stepping stone. Years later, the building stood complete, admired and celebrated. Not because the world had been easy, but because faith had transformed imagination into inevitability. Faith acts like a magnet. When your inner state is aligned with your assumptions, circumstances begin to respond. Opportunities appear where none seemed possible. Relationships shift to mirror your belief, and events unfold in ways that feel almost miraculous. The outer world is simply echoing the certainty within. This is why unwavering faith is not blind. It is the conscious recognition that what you assume with conviction is already real in the unseen, and that all experiences will eventually conform to that reality. To cultivate this faith, begin each day by returning to your inner state of fulfillment. Before you interact with the world, close your eyes and feel the satisfaction of your desire, as if it is already complete. Let the sensations of joy, abundance, love, or success saturate your being. Carry this feeling into your actions, speech, and thought. Faith is maintained by repetition, by consistently aligning your consciousness with the state of fulfilled assumption. Faith also requires patience. Just as a seed takes time to grow into a tree, your inner conviction must be nurtured until the outer world reflects it. You may not see immediate results, but each moment spent living in your fulfilled assumption strengthens the invisible currents of manifestation. The impatience of the senses is no measure of reality. Only the persistent faith of the mind and heart guides creation. Let me offer a metaphor. Imagine a violinist practicing in a dark room. She cannot see the audience. She cannot hear applause. Yet she plays with unwavering confidence, knowing that mastery resides within her, and that the music will eventually reach the ears it is meant to touch. Faith is the same. It is the inner knowing, the silent assurance that what you assume and feel will inevitably manifest, even if the evidence is not yet visible. Another powerful tool for strengthening faith is affirmation through action. Faith is not passive. It requires the body and mind to embody the state of assumption. Move as if you are already who you wish to become. Speak as if your desires have already come to pass. Make decisions from the perspective of your fulfilled state. Each action reinforces your inner certainty, bridging the gap between imagination and reality. It is natural for doubt to occasionally arise. Even the strongest faith will encounter fleeting moments of uncertainty. When this happens, do not fight it with force. Instead, gently redirect your attention to the feeling of fulfillment. Recall moments when you have already succeeded. Imagine your desire as vividly as possible, and allow the sensation of certainty to replace fear. Doubt, like a passing cloud, dissipates in the sunlight of unwavering faith. Consider the body as a reflection of inner faith. Tension, hesitation, or anxiety signals a misalignment with your assumption. When you feel resistance physically or emotionally, return to the inner state of your fulfilled desire. Breathe deeply, center yourself, and feel the reality of what you wish to manifest. Allow this feeling to radiate through your posture, your expression, and your energy. When the body, mind, and heart are aligned with your assumption, manifestation becomes inevitable. Faith is also the lens through which you reinterpret obstacles. Challenges are no longer setbacks. They are indicators of progress, teaching moments and necessary steps in the creative process. With unwavering faith, every experience, every encounter, and every twist of circumstance becomes part of the unfolding of your desired reality. Resistance, delay, and doubt are no longer threats. They are part of the choreography of manifestation. To practice unwavering faith daily, create rituals that anchor your assumption in consciousness. Each morning, meditate on the feeling of fulfillment. Each evening, review the day through the lens of your desired reality. Throughout the day, consciously act and think from the state of your fulfilled desire. Faith is strengthened by consistent rehearsal, by embodying the reality you wish to see, until it becomes natural, effortless, and unshakable. Finally, recognize that faith is timeless. It does not rely on circumstances, others' opinions, or the immediate senses. It is the eternal certainty that what is imagined and felt in the inner world is already accomplished in the unseen. When your faith is unwavering, the universe responds with precision. The outer world is compelled to align with the inner reality. Your assumption, once anchored in faith, cannot fail. It moves toward manifestation as inevitably as the sun rises each morning. As we prepare to move into the next section, carry this awareness in your heart. Unwavering faith is the invisible engine of creation. It sustains feeling, strengthens assumption, dissolves doubt, and accelerates manifestation. The foundation of your desires is no longer fragile or tentative. It is anchored in certainty, alive with the energy of fulfillment. With this inner assurance, you are ready to explore the next principle, how to consciously act in harmony with your assumptions, allowing the outer world to reflect the inner reality you have claimed. The mountain may still loom, the mist may obscure the path, but with unwavering faith, every step you take brings you closer to the summit, and the life you have imagined is drawn naturally, irresistibly into form. 7. Acting as if. Aligning behavior with assumption to manifest reality. Picture yourself walking through a dense forest at dawn. The mist curls around your ankles. Sunlight pierces the canopy in golden beams, and every step feels uncertain yet purposeful. In your hand you carry a lantern, not to illuminate the path but to guide your movements with certainty, reflecting the light of the inner world you have already assumed as real. This is the essence of acting as if, moving through life not from what is, but from what you have assumed, letting your outer behavior embody the reality of your fulfilled desire. Many people imagine their desires but continue to act in ways that contradict them. They dream of abundance while living in scarcity, of love while holding fear, of recognition while shrinking from visibility. The contradiction creates resistance, delays manifestation, and reinforces doubt. Acting as if resolves this by aligning every outward action, word, and gesture with the inner state of fulfillment. When what you do mirrors what you have imagined and felt, the unseen responds instantly, drawing your assumptions into the tangible world. Consider a story. A young dancer longed to perform on the world's grandest stages. She practiced tirelessly, but more importantly, she moved through her daily life as though she had already arrived. She carried herself with the confidence of a star, spoke with the poise of an accomplished artist, and treated every opportunity as a step toward her realized goal. Slowly invitations began to arrive. Performances materialized and recognition flowed naturally. Her external reality did not shape her. Her inner assumption, embodied in every act, became the blueprint for her world. Acting as if begins with awareness. Observe your current actions, words, and habits. Where are they aligned with your assumed reality? And where do they betray doubt or hesitation? Identify the subtle ways in which your behavior contradicts the inner state you wish to inhabit. Then consciously choose to act from the perspective of the fulfilled assumption. Speak, move, dress, and think as if your desire is already realized. This alignment creates coherence between inner and outer worlds, dissolving the friction that holds manifestation back. Imagine planting a garden. You can imagine the flowers in full bloom, but if you fail to water, tend, and care for the soil, the seeds will not grow. Acting as if is the watering, the sunlight, and the careful tending of your inner garden. Each deliberate action taken from the state of fulfillment nourishes your assumption, enabling it to grow, flourish, and manifest in the outer world. Another example. A writer dreamed of publishing a novel that would touch hearts worldwide. Every morning he did not wait for inspiration or external validation. He sat at his desk dressed as though for a public reading, prepared his notes meticulously, and wrote as if he were already a celebrated author. That daily alignment of action with assumption created momentum, forged discipline, and signaled to the universe that his desire was not hypothetical, it was already real. Within time, his manuscript found its way to publication. The world resonated with his words, and his inner state was mirrored in tangible success. Acting as if also strengthens faith and feeling, reinforcing the power of assumption. Every action taken in harmony with your fulfilled desire becomes evidence to your subconscious that what you imagine is indeed true. Your mind and body, engaged in the practice of living from the end, radiate certainty that the world cannot help but reflect. This is why small, consistent acts, from the perspective of fulfillment, often have greater impact than grand efforts fueled by doubt or uncertainty. Let us delve into a practical exercise. Choose a desire you are cultivating, a job, relationship, health, or creative endeavor. For one day, live entirely from the perspective that it is already accomplished. Speak, move, and behave as though your assumption is reality. Notice how interactions shift, opportunity arise, and obstacles appear smaller or irrelevant. The external world begins to dance in response to the coherence of your inner and outer alignment. Repeat this daily and the effect compounds, making manifestation inevitable. Acting as if is also an internal discipline. It requires mindfulness, observation, and conscious choice. When moments arise that tempt you to act from doubt, fear, or limitation, pause. Recenter yourself in the state of fulfillment. Ask, what would the version of me who has already achieved this desire do? Then act accordingly. The universe mirrors not your hesitations, but the reality you choose to embody. A powerful metaphor. Imagine a sculptor chiseling a statue hidden beneath a block of marble. Every strike, every movement brings the vision to life. Acting as if is the deliberate strike of the chisel, guided by the inner form, the assumption you hold. Your behaviors are the strokes, your decisions the shaping force, and your imagination the blueprint. The final statue, the manifestation of your desire, emerges naturally when action aligns perfectly with inner vision. Finally, remember, acting as if is not deception, nor is it pretending. It is truth. Truth that originates from the unseen, from the realm of fulfilled assumption. The world you perceive is a reflection of your inner state. By moving, speaking, and behaving as if your desire is already accomplished, you create a resonance that cannot be denied. The outer world, bound by the laws of consciousness, must adjust to match the frequency you emit. As we prepare to move into the next section, carry this realization. The bridge between imagination and reality is built through action aligned with assumption. Thought and feeling create the blueprint, but deliberate, conscious behavior transforms it into form. The lantern you carry illuminates not the obstacles but the path of manifestation. And each step taken as if you have already arrived strengthens the certainty of your desire. The forest may still feel dense, the mist may still obscure the trail, yet as you act in accordance with your assumption, every movement, every word, every gesture carries you closer to the life you have imagined. The unseen world responds, and your reality bends irresistibly toward the state you inhabit. 8. The power of persistence. Sustaining assumption until fulfillment. Picture a river flowing relentlessly through a rugged canyon. Rocks block its path, storms attempt to divert its course, and shadows of doubt hover over its surface. Yet the river continues, unstoppable, carving its way forward with unwavering determination. This is the essence of persistence, the continuous, unshakable adherence to your assumption, the steady, unrelenting faith that what you imagine and feel will inevitably manifest, no matter the obstacles. Tonight we explore the transformative power of persistence, and how it turns the abstract into the tangible, imagined into reality. Many people abandon their dreams too early. The first hint of difficulty, delay, or resistance convinces them to surrender. They wait for external confirmation or they allow fleeting doubts to redirect their energy. But manifestation does not follow hesitation. It follows unwavering attention and persistent assumption. The world mirrors the state you maintain, and the outer reality bends only to the inner conviction that is nurtured without interruption. Persistence is the quiet, relentless heartbeat of creation. Consider a story. A sculptor labored for years on a magnificent statue, facing harsh winters, failing tools and moments of exhaustion. Each day he returned to the marble, chiseling, polishing, refining, undeterred by imperfection or delay. Eventually, the masterpiece emerged. Every strike of the chisel, every hour of dedication, every moment of sustained focus shaping the final form. Your assumption, when nurtured with similar persistence, acts as the chisel, carving your desires into the fabric of reality. Persistence is not about forced effort. It is about consistency of consciousness. It is the act returning, again and again, to the feeling of fulfilled assumption. No matter what your senses report, you may encounter obstacles, unexpected events, or external resistance. These are not failures, they are tests of your inner resolve. Each time you re-anchor yourself in the state of fulfillment, you reinforce the signal that guides creation. Like a compass pointing north, your persistent assumption always directs the circumstances of life toward the fulfillment of your desire. Imagine tending a fire in a dark night. One ember alone will not warm the room, but if you feed it consistently, protecting it from wind and rain, it grows into a blaze that illuminates and warms everything around it. Persistence in assumption works the same way. Each moment you consciously inhabit the fulfilled state, feed it with feeling, protect it from doubt, and act in alignment, the flame of your desire grows, eventually manifesting as inevitable reality. A practical approach to sustaining persistence is to create daily rituals. Dedicate time each morning and evening to immerse yourself in the feeling of fulfilled desire. Revisit your inner assumptions with clarity and emotion. Meditate, visualize, journal, or quietly repeat the experience of having what you desire. These repeated acts of focus are not mere exercises. They are the steady current that carries your assumptions from imagination into materialization. Let us consider another story. A woman longed to build a business that would empower community. Her initial efforts met with skepticism, setbacks, and financial strain. Yet she returned each day to the vision of her fulfilled assumption, feeling the satisfaction, the pride, and the impact as if it were already real. She acted consistently in alignment with this inner state, making small yet deliberate decisions that reflected her assumed success. Over time, opportunities appeared, collaborations formed, and her dream manifested exactly as she had imagined. Persistence was the engine that moved her from desire to reality. Persistence is also a test of inner faith. The mind often wants immediate results. It is conditioned to judge by appearance, but the unseen world, the world where all creation originates, responds not to impatience but to steadfastness. Every delay, every challenge, is a chance to strengthen your inner resolve, to refine your feeling, and to deepen your certainty. The universe cannot resist a consciousness that is unwavering, consistent, and saturated with the energy of fulfilled assumption. To practice persistence, begin with small, daily commitments. Even if life seems chaotic or discouraging, return to your assumption consistently. Visualize the reality as already accomplished. Act as if it is true. Feel it fully. Each repetition strengthens the unseen threads of creation. Over time, the accumulated force of this persistent attention becomes irresistible, bending external circumstances to match the internal state. Another key to persistence is patience, intertwined with faith. Like a farmer waiting for a crop to ripen, you do not rush the process, yet you remain attentive, caring, and confident. Impatience erodes the inner state, while persistence strengthens it. When combined with feeling and acting as if, patience ensures that your assumption remains alive, vibrant, and effective, even when external evidence has yet to appear. Persistence also transforms resistance into momentum. Every doubt, every challenge, every obstacle becomes an opportunity to reinforce your inner state. When you face circumstances that appear contradictory to your desire, instead of reacting with fear or frustration, return to the feeling of fulfillment. Let your inner certainty remain unshaken. Like the river that continues to flow around every rock, your persistent assumption moves past every apparent block, reshaping the landscape of reality in its path. Finally, recognize that persistence is the invisible thread connecting imagination, feeling, faith, and it is what bridges the unseen world of assumption with the physical world of experience. Without persistence, even the most vivid visualization or strongest feeling may fade, leaving desire unreal. With it, every inner act compounds, every assumption solidifies, and every dream becomes inevitable. As we prepare to move into the next section, hold this awareness. Persistence is the lifeblood of manifest. It is the daily conscious choice to remain aligned with the fulfilled state, to act as if, to feel as if, and to trust as if your desire is already real. The canyon may still seem wide, the path uncertain, but the river of your persistence flows relentlessly, carving a new reality with every passing moment. In the next section, we will explore the role of imagination in daily life, living as if your desire is already real, where you will learn to integrate your assumptions into every waking moment, transforming your reality from ordinary experience to extraordinary manifestation. 9. The role of imagination in daily life, living as if your desire is already real. Imagine waking in the morning and stepping into a world that responds to your every thought, every feeling, every assumption. The streets, the people, the opportunities, all align seamlessly with the reality you carry within. This is not fantasy, it is the power of imagination fully applied to daily life. Imagination is the workshop of reality, the unseen stage upon which your desires take shape long before the senses perceive them. The question is, will you live as if your desires are already real, or will you wait for external proof that may never arrive? Too often people relegate imagination to idle daydreams, a luxury or escape from reality. But imagination is far more potent than idle wandering. It is the most active creative force within you. It is the invisible brush painting the canvas of your life. Every circumstance, every relationship, every success begins first as an image, a feeling, a state of being in the inner world. To neglect imagination is to surrender your creative power, leaving your life to unfold according to random influence, rather than conscious design. Let me tell you a story. A young musician dreamed of performing in the world's grandest concert halls. She could not yet see the stages, hear the applause, or feel the energy of a vast audience. Yet each morning she would close her eyes and imagine herself performing, feeling the lights on her face, hearing the crowd, sensing the vibration of every note flowing perfectly from her hands. She did not imagine a wish. She imagined reality. Every day she carried this inner experience into her life, refining skill, seeking opportunities, and acting with the confidence of someone already accomplished. In time, her imagination became her reality. The stages appeared, the audience listened, the music soared. Imagination works when it is combined with feeling. Thinking alone is insufficient. Mere intellectual exercise does not impress the subconscious mind. Feeling is the fuel that powers imagination. When you feel as if your desire is already real, your entire being vibrates with the certainty of fulfillment. Your mind, body and spirit send signals that attract circumstances and people to mirror that state. This is why daily, conscious use of imagination, infused with emotion, is the single most transformative practice for manifesting the life you desire. Consider a metaphor, a lighthouse on a foggy coast. The light does not remove the fog. It merely guides ships safely to harbor. Your imagination is that lighthouse. It does not manipulate the outer world directly, but it creates a signal, a resonance, a state within that the world cannot resist. Ships, opportunities, relationships, circumstances move naturally toward the light. Without the lighthouse, the fog remains, paths are uncertain, and potential is lost. Practical application is essential. Begin each day by dedicating time to live fully in your assumed reality. Visualize scenes as vividly as possible. See the people, hear the sounds, feel the sensations, and immerse yourself completely. Do not treat it as a fleeting thought. Treat it as a living experience, as tangible as walking through your home or touching an object in your hand. Then carry that feeling throughout the day. Respond to events from the perspective of someone who already inhabits the desired reality. Your imagination, practiced in this way, guides not just your mind, but every action, word, and choice. Another story illustrates this principle. A young entrepreneur desired to build a thriving community business. Initially, resources were scarce, competition fierce, and outcomes uncertain. Rather than focusing on limitations, he spent mornings imagining the business fully operational, seeing satisfied clients, hearing laughter and conversation, feeling the pride of achievement. Each day he acted in alignment with that imagined reality, networking confidently, making strategic decisions, and presenting himself as the successful leader he envisioned. The outer world, responding to his inner state, began to shift. Doors opened, collaborations formed, and his imagined reality gradually materialized. The key is consistency. Imagination is most powerful when applied repeatedly, daily and without interruption. Just as a sculptor returns day after day to reveal the form hidden in stone, your imagination, consistently cultivated, shapes the contours of your life. Small daily exercises compound over time. A single vivid visualization may influence your consciousness momentarily, but persistent practice ingrains the state into your being, creating an irresistible pull for manifestation. Imagination also allows you to revise and perfect your experiences before they appear in reality. Every interaction, challenge or opportunity can first be rehearsed in the inner world, imagined as successful, harmonious and aligned with your desire. When the mind rehearses the ideal, the subconscious treats it as reality, guiding action, decisions, and responses to support the unfolding of that reality externally. Your imagination becomes both blueprint and rehearsal, ensuring that what manifests is refined, precise, and aligned with your highest intention. Living through imagination is not escapism, it is mastery. By consciously using your inner world to define your outer experience, you reclaim the creative authority that has always been yours. Every day becomes an opportunity to act, feel, and think from the end of your desire. The world will mirror the reality you inhabit, and you no longer wait for external validation. You move as if the desired state is already real, and the universe responds accordingly. As this section closes, remember this: your imagination is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. It is the workshop, the rehearsal hall, the blueprint, and the seedbed of all creation. Daily conscious and feeling-filled use of imagination transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary experience. The life you desire is not somewhere out there waiting. It is already present in your inner world, awaiting your attention, your belief, and your consistent, living engagement. We will explore Section 10, the fulfillment of assumption, experiencing the inevitable reality of your desire, where all the principles we have discussed, faith, feeling, persistence, acting as if, and imagination, come together, revealing how your inner world inevitably shapes the outer world into the life you have assumed and already feel as real. 10. The fulfillment of assumption, experiencing the inevitable reality of your desire. Picture standing at the summit of a mountain at sunrise. The wind brushes your face. The sky ignites with golden light, and the vast horizon stretches endlessly before you. Every step, every struggle, every moment of persistence has led to this instant. This is the fulfillment of assumption, not a distant dream, not a fleeting hope, but a tangible living reality that has emerged because you dared to assume it, to feel it, and to live as if it were already true. The fulfillment of assumption is the ultimate truth of conscious creation. Every desire you hold, every vision you cultivate, is not contingent on external circumstances. It is the inevitable outcome of the state you have assumed within. The outer world is nothing more than a mirror, reflecting your inner conviction. When your mind, feelings, and actions are aligned with the assumption of fulfillment, the universe responds with perfect precision. The life you have imagined, rehearsed, and believed becomes tangible, inevitable, and undeniable. Consider a story. A young artist spent years imagining a gallery of paintings admired by thousands. Each morning she entered her studio, not with hope but with certainty, feeling the presence of her success as vividly as she could. She acted from that reality, made choices consistent with her fulfilled state, and persisted despite challenges. One day, invitations to exhibit her work arrived unexpectedly, opportunities that seemed impossible before. The gallery opened, the crowd admired, and her art was celebrated. Her assumption, cultivated with faith, imagination, and action, had become reality. The unseen had finally taken form. The law is simple yet profound. Whatever you assume and feel as real shapes your world. But the key lies in total immersion, faith without doubt, imagination without hesitation, persistence without surrender, and action in perfect harmony with inner certainty. The fulfillment of assumption does not rush. It emerges naturally, guided by the invisible currents of consciousness that your inner state has set into motion. The world cannot resist the state you consistently inhabit. It bends, flows, and adjusts to mirror your inner truth. Think of a river that has been flowing toward the sea for centuries. It encounters rocks, bends, and obstacles, yet it never ceases. Eventually it reaches the ocean, inevitable and unstoppable. Your assumption works in the same way. Every thought, feeling, and act aligned with your fulfilled state is a current pushing toward manifestation. Doubts, delays, and temporary setbacks are merely rocks in the river's path. They cannot prevent the inevitable. A practical insight. To fully experience fulfillment, live each day from the end. When you wake, feel as if your desire is already realized. In your thoughts, in your words, in your interactions, carry the certainty of completion. When challenges arise, do not allow them to disturb your state. Instead, view them as opportunities to reinforce the assumption, to deepen the feeling, and to demonstrate to yourself that the reality you inhabit within is unshakable. The more consistent and natural this becomes, the more effortlessly your outer world aligns. Imagination and feeling are the twin engines of fulfillment. Each inner scene you play, each emotion you inhabit, builds the architecture of reality. When you feel success, love, abundance, or peace before it appears externally, the universe recognizes it as already existing and orchestrates circumstances to reflect that state. Manifestation is not creation from nothing. It is the revelation of what has long existed in the unseen world, waiting for your consciousness to acknowledge and embody it. Consider another story. A teacher desired to inspire communities across the world. Though initial attempts seemed small and unnoticed, he consistently lived in the state of his fulfilled purpose. Each lesson was delivered as if it already touched lives, each interaction infused with the energy of accomplishment. Gradually his teachings spread, resonating far beyond what he could have imagined. His outer reality had caught up to his inner certainty. This is the fulfillment of assumption, the bridge between inner certainty and outer realization. The fulfillment of assumption is also deeply liberating. When you understand that reality is shaped by your inner state, fear, worry, and external judgment lose their power. You no longer rely on validation, luck, or circumstance. Instead, you become a master of your consciousness, knowing that what you assume with clarity and feeling is inevitable. The life you desire is not a gift, nor a distant possibility. It is a reflection of the reality you already carry within. To fully internalize this principle, embrace a practice of daily acknowledgement. Reflect each evening on the ways in which your assumption has guided your day, seen or unseen. Rehearse the feeling of fulfillment before sleep, letting it saturate your subconscious. As the days pass, the external world continues to respond, sometimes subtly, sometimes dramatically, but always inevitably. What you assume with conviction cannot fail. Finally, recognize that the fulfillment of assumption is not a single moment, but a continuous state. Life, when consciously created, is a river of experiences perfectly aligned with your inner reality. Each desire, each intention, each imagined scene, once fully assumed, becomes a living reality in the world outside. You are no longer waiting. You are living the manifestation of your own conscious desire. As this lecture draws to its conclusion, hold this truth in your heart. The life you desire is not separate from you. It is the inevitable reflection of the state you occupy within. Faith, imagination, persistence, and action converge to bring the unseen into form. You are both the sculptor and the statue, the river and the sea. Every desire you have assumed with feeling, every act you have taken as if it were real, culminates now in fulfillment. Step into this reality with confidence. Feel it, live it, embody it. The world will respond as it must, because the inner world always precedes the outer. Your assumption is the seed, your feeling is the water, your action is the sun, and the fulfillment is the inevitable bloom. The masterpiece of your life, drawn in your imagination and nurtured in your consciousness, now stands ready for you to experience fully, completely, and without hesitation.